Politicians have always been fair game when it comes to making jokes at their expense. And indeed, even their partners aren't considered off limits. I can remember when Gough Whitlam was in power, his wife Margaret, a very big woman, was the subject of a crack that went, "Why does Gough always take Margaret on his overseas trips?" Answer, because she's the only woman who can jumpstart a jumbo jet. OK, not very funny, perhaps a bit cruel, but at least made in a spirit of good humour. But where Julia Gillard's concerned, that good humour has gone out of the window, and even when it comes to her partner, Tim Matheson. We had the weird situation where a rather nasty shock jock called Howard Sattler asked Julia Gillard a whole series of questions about innuendo and rumours surrounding her, and even about her partner. And it went right over the top when Sattler confronted Gillard with the remark, "Tim's gay." Gillard, not unnaturally, was somewhat taken aback. What on earth did he mean? "Tim's gay," Sattler repeated. And Gillard took offence, naturally, and Sattler then, having pursued the subject until no one could possibly have missed it, kept saying, "Oh no, that's just a story, isn't it? That's the story, that's a rumour, isn't it? That's a bit of innuendo. Oh yes, that's just the talk around the pubs." Well, bullshit, Howard. You can't get away with that. And equally, there was what had now been called Menugate, the story of Mel Bruff's fundraising dinner and the offensive menu. The menu was made public, and among other items it included the description of Kentucky Fried Quail Julia Gillard, small breasts, huge thighs and a big red box. Not funny at all. Puerile, primary school stuff. And Bruff was naturally accused of appalling taste. Bruff hummed and hawed and apologised, as did Tony Abbott on his behalf. But then suddenly, 2 days later, Bruff was off the hook. A restaurateur, the man at the restaurant where the fundraiser was held, a man named Joe, stood up and took the blame. It had just been a family joke, he said. Well, a pretty elaborate family joke, given that the menu had been properly laid out in a variety of typeset and had been printed. But not the sort of joke you make with your son normally. You went on to a bit far. And Bruff's denials, of course, rang hollow because Bruff had form. Bruff was involved in the conspiracy surrounding Peter Slipper and James Ashby and continually denied that he'd met Ashby privately until witnesses came forward to prove that he had. Not once, but on many, many occasions. So it all sounded just a bit inconvenient. I was reminded of an event not all that long ago when Shane Warne, the Australian cricketer, found himself in trouble. The phrase "can't bowl, can't throw," a derisive remark at one of Warne's teammates, had come over Channel 9's telecast, and the finger was pointed at Warne, who was standing near one of the on-field marks at the time. It didn't look good for Warne, and it didn't look good for Cricket Australia, because Warne was the great crowd favourite, and to discipline him would have been a very unpopular move indeed. And then suddenly, hey presto, up popped a Channel 9 cameraman named Joe, who said, "Oh no, that was me." So we've had cameraman Joe and now restaurateur Joe. If they hadn't existed, well, it would have been necessary to invent them. And just maybe that's exactly what happened. I'm Mungo McCallum.